710 ESPN, ESPNLA.com. Welcome to what we are calling
Trojan Corner.
Trojan Corner. It's the first day of the 2011 USC season, USC versus Minnesota. I'm Brian Kamenetzky. That's Andy Kamenetzky. We're the co-hosts of ESPN LA On Air, which you can hear most Saturdays from 12 to 2 on 710. And joining us today,
the inaugural Trojan Corner.
Perhaps, arguably, the greatest linebacker that USC has ever seen.
He is the only winner of the Butkus Award in USC history. A lot of linebackers went through this school.
Yep, 312 tackles over the course of his 3 years as a starter, 27 for losses. The pride of Riverside, Chris Claiborne. Everybody say hello to Chris this morning.
Sweet. Thank you for having me.
Chris is actually going to be hanging out here. When we're done, Chris is going to be hanging out and signing some autographs. So when we're done, feel free to come up and say hi. Chris, you've done this before. You've gone through the emotions of the first game of the season. Been away from USC for a little bit now. What does it do for you, though, to come back on the opening day of the season?
Well, this is, it's incredible. Honestly, the feeling, the vibe. I mean, I didn't realize people were having so much fun when we were getting ready for a game. So to see as many people out here and see all the fans coming around, I mean, it's awesome. It just goes to show you what tradition it means here.
What goes through a player's mind heading into that first game of the season?
Well, I think the first thing, you just want to get yourself established. You're excited to play against somebody else. You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest thing. And to get that first win, I mean, when you're ranked, you want to get that first win and set a precedent for the season.
Yeah. When you take a look, I know you stay connected to the program. It's been a tough time for SC over the last couple seasons. When you look last year what happened and now into this season, what's your impression of this year's group?
Well, I think this year's group is going to be pretty special. We got some more depth now at the linebacker position. Especially, we got quite a few guys that can come in and contribute, and guys that I think I didn't even expect to contribute are going to be ready to play. Gallipo's going to lead us, and
of course you're picking a linebacker.
Yeah, Gallipo's going to lead us.
And
then also, when you look at the future and the past of SC, what's going to really be based on is the defensive line and the offensive line. When you always have a first rounder at those two lines, we tend to have great years.
Objectivity hat on, what are some of the areas that you think could be SC's weaknesses or need to be shored up a bit?
I think the understanding of the defense will be that. I think last year we gave up a lot of plays late in the game. And I think when Oregon, for instance, came in here, they ran that fast break offense. They ran it so fast that, we weren't getting lined up. So I think that's the main thing.
This season, Monty Kiffin is going to be simplifying the defense that he brought in last year. Apparently very complicated pro-style defense. As somebody who's played at both levels, how difficult would that be for college kids to be learning a pro-style defense?
Well, I think the way that Pete taught cover 2 and the way Monty's playing it is a little bit different. Even though they've been colleagues for many years. The Tampa 2, you didn't see a lot of Tampa 2 last year. You see more, I think, of a cover 4 look, and I think that's going to help us when we play these spread teams to play that cover 4, get the safeties down in the box to make tackles.
We're talking to Chris Claiborne here on Trojan Corner, the inaugural Trojan Corner, 710 ESPN. If you're just walking up, Chris will be signing autographs when we're done here. How much does just the experience? Because the second year, we had USC had a lot of young players on the defense last year. What does just doing it again do for you as a player, again at that college level?
Well, I think not only just the season, but you had that off season to get it in. When the season was over, they got a chance to go back and look at the film and see the mistakes they had. So I think this year we should be a lot better. The players should play faster. And I think the linebackers especially should make a lot more plays. I don't think they were very active last year.
What are the challenges for this team this year, knowing that there's a ceiling to how far they can go? They can't win the Pac-12 championship. They can't go to a bowl. Knowing that from the jump, how do you think you approach the season?
I think the main thing for these guys is part of us is for recruiting. That with the Pac-12 the way it is now, you got Utah could come and steal a couple kids from LA. You got Oregon that's stealing kids, and we lost D'Anthony Thomas last year. I think the main thing is us winning the games we're supposed to win, come out with a good record. Everybody knows what the tradition is and what the school's about. And recruiting-wise, this is about recruiting right now. We got to get through it.
So they're playing as much for the school as they are just their overall record or the success that they can claim.
Oh yeah. No matter what, if we go undefeated, they will be well respected by their peers, the people who've played here, and the fans as well.
Chris, what's your take on the Pac-12? You mentioned the Utah and Colorado coming in. Do you like the new look with the 2 divisions and the new teams?
I think it's great. I think it would be better if we can get Texas Tech, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State. I think
the Pac-16.
That's a whole nother conversation. But I think strength-wise, we got to try to compete with the SEC as far as getting those props as far as when it gets time for the bowl games.
So you're not old school that way, thinking it's got to be the Pac-10. This is the way it's been for so long. This is the way I want it.
No.
I mean, they could just as easily take that 2 that they used to be a 0. They made it into a 2. They could just flip it over, make it a 16.
That's it. I think it benefits everybody. It would even help us as far as basketball.
All right, Chris, and we're talking to Chris Claiborne. He'll be signing autographs here when we're done in just a second. USC, everybody talks about it as tailback U and this and that. And there's obviously a long history with quality running backs at USC. There's also a quality history of linebacking at USC. I mean, you come from a long line of it. Guys like Jack Del Rio, Willie McGinnis, Keith Rivers, they just put Brian Cushing in the NFL. And I mean, it's so many players, Lofa Tatupu, and so on and so on and so on. Who is your favorite USC linebacker of all time?
Richard Wood would be that, and my favorite running back would be Sam Bam Cunningham. He's my favorite SC football player of all time.
Why?
He's changed the game. You know what I mean? And I think that's more significant than making plays. When you change the thought of the game, how people perceive recruiting and going out for athletes, I mean, that's impressive. I read the book, and I was so happy to take a picture with him, and he's up in my office. So
So you're thinking big picture, really beyond.
Always. I think that's why I said the Pac-16 would be huge. I mean, the Pac-12 is great, but the 16 is huge.
When you arrived at USC, were you excited at the prospect of being part of that linebacker lineage? Was that something that you thought about when you committed here?
Oh yeah. I think that was the most important thing. I think when you thought about what was been here and the number being offered to me was huge, and I got to thank Coach Robinson for that.
Yeah, that's actually what I wanted to ask next about that. There are great linebackers at USC, and then there are the ones that are allowed to join Club 55. Guys like you, Willie McGinnis, Marcus Steele, now Lamar Dawson actually as a true freshman. Can you talk a little bit about what Club 55 means to USC and the linebackers, what it is?
Well, I think whenever we've had that 55 on the field, we have to dominate. You know what I mean? And that's the pressure that they put on you, but it's a good pressure.
The jersey number.
The jersey number, yeah. When you wear that 55, man, you got to take your game to another level. Things are expected of you. And when you don't prepare or play well with that number, they kind of forget you. Because there's been some other guys that have worn that number, and you're not mentioning their name, so it says what it is.
Go ahead.
You actually didn't you ask for a different number, and you were told, no, you're wearing 55?
Yeah.
What'd you want, like 23 or something?
No, I wanted 3 because at the time, Keyshawn had just got done wearing 3. I wore 30 in high school, and I said, man, I want to turn it into something defensive. And Coach Robinson said, no, you're going to wear 55.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, but at the very least, you're not wearing 3. I mean, that's what he said.
It worked out. Carson got 3, and he turned it into something special.
If you're just walking up, I'm Brian Kamenetzky. That's Andy Kamenetzky. This is Trojan Corner. We're talking to Chris Claiborne, USC great, who will be signing autographs as soon as we're done here. What advice would you give Lamar Dawson? Andy mentioned a true freshman from Kentucky, was given 55 by the coaching staff this year, comes with a lot of responsibility, and he is such a young kid. What would you tell him?
Whenever you get an opportunity to make a play in this game, you have to make that play. And everybody's watching you, especially having that number. But seize the moment. When you do make those plays and you have that number 55 on, make sure you carry yourself in the right way, represent the number well in the university, and it'll do a lot of great things for you.
Is there a secret handshake? Any benefits that come with it? 10% off at the 9-0?
You know what? Every time we see each other, we always give each other love. Junior Sales, awesome. Willie McGinnis is awesome. Even when I was here, they were great with me. So I try to be that same way.
Junior, he was pretty good.
Yeah,
he was all right.
I try to be that same way.
I would not mention Junior Seau when I was giving that list out.
I forgot to.
See, you guys are wrong. That's just wrong.
He was pretty good.
There's actually a secret entrance at Disneyland for Club 55 people. You don't have to wait in line. It's better than a fast
I've
pass.
even eaten in Junior's restaurant. How do I forget about that?
It was
That's why I had to remind you guys. I had to give him some love.
That's what it is. I think of him now as a restaurateur.
Yeah, Junior, you're out there listening, man.
What was your favorite moment as a Trojan? Well, it could have come on the field, could have come off the field.
Beating Notre Dame here, 10-0. 10-0 beating Notre Dame here. Didn't score a bunch of points on offense, but we played great defense that day. And that's what it's all about, playing great defense, winning games, big games.
We were talking earlier about whatever advice you would give to Lamar Dawson wearing 55. You left SC after 3 years,
yes.
Passed up your senior year to enter the NFL. Matt Barkley is in a situation where he might have that same opportunity. What goes into making that type of decision? How do you evaluate where you are there?
Well, I think the main thing is, what have you accomplished? What have you accomplished? What did you set for yourself to accomplish? I mean, I got to that point where there was really nothing else I could accomplish, and at the time, we weren't moving forward as a team. And as much as I wanted to stay, and I still look back sometimes, I don't question it, but it was a great experience. Man, I did everything you could possibly do.
Yeah, but that was you won the Butkus Award and led USC in tackles and interceptions. You were the Pac-10 Defensive Player of the Year. You reach a point where, as a player, then you're not going to make yourself better by staying another year.
They can only tear you down.
Right.
It gets to the point where they can only tear you down at that point.
So, now that you're looking back, though, as a USC fan, do you tell Matt Barkley maybe to hang out for his senior year because it helps the program?
Well, I would tell Mark Barkley this: if you lead your team well this year, and we get the stats, that you need, leave. But I think he's a guy that another year would be great for him. I mean, to come in next year and be able to win the Pac-12, at your senior year, to leave your legacy in that aspect, I think he should come back.
And it would be great for USC. Right. Just saying.
Yeah.
Depending on how this
really great for SC,
depending on how this season goes, Lane Kiffin might just keep you out of his office.
So I mean,
stay away, Chris.
Yeah, but I mean, if we don't win it, then that's what it's going to be.
A couple more things for you. It's been a really brutal off season for college football in terms of, every time you open a newspaper, you look online, there's another program. People have them.
Who reads a
folks
newspaper?
over the Daily News right over there.
You still make those?
They do. And another program's in trouble. What do you think or should be done to help clean up college football like that?
Ooh. Or is it not a matter of cleaning it up? Is it a matter of the NCAA reshaping its thinking?
Sure.
Man, you know what? That's tough. I think it's just about being fair. You don't have any. When you're done with college, you don't have any insurance. You don't have any. Medical. You don't have any of those things. You have an opportunity, and that's why it's important that you pick the right university to go to, because you have alumni like that's at USC that if you play, you go to school, you handle your business, they will be there to help you. So that's more important than anything. Pushing the education, using the alumni, which are great here at this university, to get, whether you play pro ball or not, that's important. That's more important than anything.
Talking to Chris Claiborne, USC great 1998 Butkus Award winner. He'll be signing autographs right here when we're done. Let's look a little bit at today's game. Marquise Gray, spread offense with Minnesota. It's the first game, really, that they're putting it in. New coach. How hard is it to step on a field? I mean, the Trojans have been watching film of Northern Illinois, not Minnesota.
Right.
Is that a tough thing to go out when you haven't seen the players, you haven't seen the program, and you have a spread offense that can be pretty tricky?
Well, I think what their main thing is going to be to run the ball. If you can stop people from running the ball, and if you can stop them with only 7 in the box, and we can play with 2 high safeties, I mean, we're in business. So let's stop the run and let everything else. And then when offense gets the opportunity, we have to score, put pressure on them in order for them to have to throw the ball and not be able to run the ball and grind it out on them.
Give a name of one player not named Matt or Barkley, or somebody of that type of star level that you think could be an X factor this year.
X factor, okay. I can't say Robert Woods. Marquise Lee will be one, definitely. And I think the big kid from Ohio, the offensive lineman, Audrey Walker.
I got to give you credit for going 3 names down without naming a linebacker.
He's a beast.
We've already talked about Lamar Dawson.
That's true.
He's a grown man. That guy is wow.
Really?
I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Cool.
All right, last question for you. What's your prediction this season? What do you think when we're done here at the end of the year? What's USC's record?
We're gonna have an undefeated season. Hopefully, get Oregon.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Beat Oregon, and they might win. They might win the Pac-12, and we'll give them that this year. But next year we'll come back. hopefully Barkley will be back, and will be really exciting and deep.
12-0. You heard it here first.
All right, Chris Claiborne, USC great. Thanks so much for coming by. You'll be
Thank you for
hanging out
having
here,
me.
signing some autographs, and breaking in Coach Trojan's corner. This is you're like a.
I love it.
You're like a pioneer
They
here.
had a Claiborne's corner when I was here. So
Which is more exciting, to be a member of Club 55 or the first guest on this show?
the first guest right now because
That's
I'm
right.
done playing.
That is the correct
That's the
answer.
correct answer.
That is the correct
Thanks, Chris.
answer.
Hang out here, come say hi, and thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot for having me, guys.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Sweet.
It's fun.